Hello and welcome to this edition of Hashin' It Out with Paul Hash. I'm Paul Hash and this is the show where I ask the questions everybody forgot to ask. Today I'll be talking to everybody's favorite movie mogul, Steven Spielberg. So if you need a phone home, do it now and don't forget to not go into the light, because it's time to talk to Steven Spielberg. Steven, tell me about your first experience at a male strip club.
And I think it all started out when I was maybe 6 or 7 years old, and my father came over to me and said, "I'm going to take you to see the greatest show on earth."
A lot of people probably don't know this, but your inspiration for Schindler's List actually came from a long wait at the DMV. How did that come about?
And we stood in a very long line, I remember, against a solid red brick wall for what seemed like hours. I think we actually stood in line for about 2.5 hours.
Can you tell me about the time you and Janis Joplin dropped acid and went to the Waffle House?
And we walked into a very kind of a dimly lit room. I remember the room had a lot of pink and purple lights, and the ceiling looked like a church.
You first achieved gigantic success in 1975 when your movie Jaws opened. Talk about that.
And the curtain opened, the lights went down, and a dimly lit image came on the screen, and it was flickering and it was kind of grainy because we were sitting way in front.
No. What I actually meant by opening was when the movie started showing in theaters for the first time. How did you feel?
And I think the feeling of disappointment and regret and betrayal lasted only about 10 minutes.
Steven, you were a consultant on the Care Bears movie, but all your ideas were ultimately rejected. Tell us your idea for the first scene of that movie.
There's a tremendous train wreck where a train speeding along the tracks is encountered by a car, a person trying to stop the train, to flag down the train, and the train hits the car flips over the top of the engine, and the train goes off the tracks, and there's a tremendous disaster where all the cars pile up.
Is it true that when your son was 12 years old, you decided that he had too many friends, so you packed up and moved halfway across the country just to punish him?
And by this time, by the way, we had moved from New Jersey to Phoenix, Arizona, which, by the way, when you're about 12 years old, there is nothing to do in Phoenix, Arizona. Nothing at all.
There are allegations that you became so irate after being fired from the Care Bears movie that you went out and caused a real-life accident.
But there was something about whatever the primal sense of wanting to destroy something because of that movie, whatever got into me, I needed to see those trains crash into each other.
Steven, your film career actually began when you were brought up on stalking charges for following a Chinese family around with a camera for 17 days without their knowledge. Can you explain that?
But I looked at that film over and over and over again, and then I thought, I wonder what else I could do with this camera. And that's how it began.
It's a little known fact, but you and I actually worked together on Jurassic Park. So I gotta ask you how you enjoyed working with me.
You know, I collaborated with you and you collaborated with me, and I think the beginning of my career I had this wonderful experience, and the thing I really want to emphasize is I didn't have a choice.
Ouch! Okay, hey, how's this for a movie idea though? It could be an epic war movie where all the potatoes in Idaho get fed up with being eaten, so they rise up and battle the humans. You could call it A Bag of Chips Now. That actually came to me in a dream.
When you have a dream, and the dream isn't something you dream and then it happens, the dream is something you never knew was going to come into your life. Dreams always come from behind you, not right between your eyes. It sneaks up on you.
All right, I want to thank you for joining me on this episode of Hashin' It Out with Paul Hash. It's the show where I ask the questions everybody forgot to ask. I'm Paul Hash, and don't forget to join me on the next episode when I'll be interviewing the grandfather of punk, Iggy Pop. Until then, remember, don't pet sweaty things. No, wait. I mean, don't sweat petty things. Whatever.
Excuse me.